Hey everybody, Dr. Whiting here. It's time for a celebration. I have always said, and will continue to say, and will say today, that if you live long enough, you get proven right. And I remember somewhere around 8-10 years ago or so, I recorded a video. It is here on YouTube in our files. And I was warning people about the dangers of sugar alcohols, specifically. Sugar alcohols have a whole host of potential problems. They cause gastrointestinal disturbances, spontaneous diarrhea, headaches, nausea, and the list goes on and on. Sugar alcohols are the worst artificial sweeteners we have. Now, I realize that as purists, many people feel that anything artificial is a no-no. But the bottom line is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again today, that a little bit of artificial sweeteners for many people are less harmful than sugar. Because if they're insulin resistant, if they're diabetic, if they're hypoglycemic, these people will get a far more difficult reaction, significant negative reaction from consuming sugar. Again, it's dose specific, like everything. But sugar alcohols are not something that you should choose under any circumstances. Well, lo and behold, today, March 1st, 2023, on every news feed across the country is the story about how sugar alcohol, specifically erythritol, causes cancer and heart disease. And one of the biggest reasons for that is it causes your blood to coagulate or clot. And blood clotting is a good thing, but to excess, it's a deadly thing. Because when clots break loose, they can cause heart disease, a heart attack, a stroke, and so forth. And now they have also discovered that erythritol is a carcinogenic. Now, people who produce these things obviously don't like to hear this news. And they will counter by saying, well, the human body produces erythritol, so it's got to be natural. Whoa. The body does produce erythritol in very minute amounts as a byproduct of certain processes of metabolism. But when you consume high amounts of these sugar alcohols, and now erythritol is in the spotlight, a host of potential serious and even deadly side effects can occur. And the problem with erythritol, specifically, it is used in a wide variety of foods. Sometimes it's listed on the label, many times it's not. Those of you who love natural sweeteners, like stevia, might be surprised to know that 99% of all the stevia on the market is enhanced with erythritol. They just don't tell you. And so there's a certain sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing that I wasn't wrong all those years ago. However, there's a certain sense of regret, dismay, that even after all this time, it has taken this long for these truths to come out about the things that the food industry does to us. And the list is huge. It's long. Because the food industry is a business, an enormous business, seconded only by the pharmaceutical industry. And they will do anything to sell their food. That includes flavor enhancers, sweeteners, preservatives, and the list goes on and on and on. It's almost impossible to avoid these things? You can, but you have to be very, very selective. And here we are 8-10 years later, and I'm still talking about the dangers of sugar alcohols. And I will keep talking about them as long as I'm able, because they're not your friend. And they're used in every food preparation. Low calorie, low carbohydrate candy, sugar alcohols. Now, how do you recognize if something contains sugar alcohols? Well, it's fairly easy. All sugar alcohols end in the letters OL. Xylitol, erythritol. There's so many of them. And you can recognize them on a label quite easy because they end in OL. And that's the alcohol portion. So once again, a decade later, I ask you all to please avoid sugar alcohols at all cost. Not only are they dangerous, we now know from a recent clinical study, they're also deadly. This is Dr. Whiting. You can reach our research institute at healthyinformation.com. Take care and stay safe.